150,000 in my previous job, and what I did was I asked for 15,000 more. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lori. If you are new here, I am a family nurse practitioner, and in today's video I am going to talk all about the pros and cons, the differences, what I like, what I dislike about primary care / nursing home versus the urgent care space. Now, if you are new to my channel, let me speed you up. I worked as a nurse practitioner in the primary care setting, nursing home setting, and I also have experience working in inpatient. My previous job, I was there for 3 years. Fast forward, I quit that job in December, and I have been embarking on testing out the urgent care setting. I said testing it out because I'm truly testing it out. I have been in the urgent care space now for 60 days. Now let's start with patient population. In the primary care setting, patient population determined by the type of practice that you're in. If the practice is a specialty practice, your cardiologist or ID, infectious disease, that's the only patient you're going to see. The practice that I was in was a family practice. I myself that worked with the doctor, I was kind of the patient's PCP, primary care provider. So we would manage patients and all their comorbidities, anything acutely that comes up. I think most of us know this. That's what the primary care office is. And you also have to do all your follow-up stuff when you draw labs and all of that for your patient. Now, urgent care, the patient population is patients you see from 2-day-old to 100-year-old. We see children. Nobody's bringing their 2-day-olds, but I have seen people bring their 3-week-old babies to the urgent care, so if you are a nurse practitioner who do not want to work with kids, I will tell you, do not even bother yourself with going the urgent care route because you are going to see children. When it comes on to the amount of patient you see in the primary care office, you schedule the amount of patients you want to see for that day. So if you want to see 15 or 20 patients, that is what you're scheduling to see. Urgent care, not so much. You see whatever walks into the clinic for that day. So for instance, one day I saw 35 patients and another day I saw 75 patients. Yes, when I was doing the nursing home, let's talk nursing home because a bulk of my work was in a nursing home setting. My nursing home was split up into two. I was the PCP for the residents in the nursing home, and I also was the wound care provider for the entire building in some of these nursing home settings. So my wound care days is kind of like urgent care days because I could not predict how many patients they would put on my wound care rounds. One day I showed up for wound care and it was 10. The next day I showed up is 50. When I was seeing my regular patients, I control how many patients I saw for the day. I wouldn't see no more than 15. 12 to 15 is what I would normally do when I see my regular patients in the nursing home setting. Let's talk about the schedule. When I worked primary care, 9 to 5, 8 to 5, depending what time your office open, Monday through Friday, no weekends, no holidays, right? In a nursing home setting, you show up and you see your patient. Urgent care's schedule is more inclined as the nurse type schedule. So a lot of you who are new NP and you are used to working 12-hour shift 3 days a week and you do not want to get out of that, that is the urgent care schedule. Some urgent care you can work 8 hours. The current urgent care that I work at, they don't do these 8-hour schedule. You have to do your 12 hours and that's it, unless I ask another provider to pick up half of my shift and I pick up half of their shift and different things like that. Or if you pick up overtime, you don't have to pick up the entire 12. You can say, I only want to be here for 8 hours or I only want to be here for 6 hours. Overtime for me? Nah man. I'm not doing it. I will tell you guys that I'm kind of on the fence with going back to this type of scheduling, and I don't know, I got used to working Monday through Friday, no weekends, no holidays. I got used to that. I actually was doing one weekend. I apologize. I was doing 1 weekend a month in inpatient rounding on patients. So I only was doing one Saturday, one Sunday. And now I am doing every other weekend. Yes, I hate it. I do. Somebody had asked me in my comments, is there self-scheduling? There's not self-scheduling as if, you know, you go and you plug in the days that you want, but you can request days. And so far, I will say that any day that I said, you know, I can't do has been granted. When it comes on to pros versus cons, the biggest con for me with urgent care is people that come into the urgent care and the entitlement for antibiotics. I have said this so much in my Instagram, on my stories, in my vlogs. This society is obsessed with antibiotics. People already walk into the urgent care and they already self-diagnose themselves. I actually had a patient walk in and say, this is what's going on with me, and WebMD said I need this medication and that's why I'm here. In the beginning, when I started working, I thought the pace was just like paces like that, and I am one of those people who I kind of like teaching patients. I like telling patients, hey, this is what you should look out for. I still do it, but I felt that I was rushing, and now I actually had to slow myself down and say, you know what, Lori, you don't have to rush. You can still give people quality time and quality care by talking to them, because people genuinely don't know stuff. Especially, I had a couple of patients coming in there about wound care stuff, and because I know wound care, I was kind of like teaching them and explaining a lot of stuff to them. Took me a little while, but I'm like, this is going to be beneficial. And even one of the young ladies was like, oh my God, like I never knew this, that, and the third. And she goes, can I come to you? Do you have your own? I'm like, well, you know, when it comes on to primary care setting, one of the con I would say would definitely be if you don't want to be somebody who is following up on patients and monitoring patients' blood pressure, diabetes, especially patients who don't listen and they coming to you over and over and over again with the same thing over and over again, and they don't want to listen to nothing you have to say. So to me, primary care, that's a con for primary care. When I was in the nursing home setting, one of the big things I hated about a nursing home setting, if you watch me for a long time, I think that there's a lot of things that need to restructure about the nursing home. Nurses need to be trained better. They throw them into it sometimes with no proper training, and they genuinely don't know stuff. Administrators, DOA. I felt like in the nursing home, I was being asked to do things that was against my morals. Like, you can't keep asking me to change my charting and change my note because you don't want to get sued, even though this is what I'm seeing. So that was the big thing for me in a nursing home setting. Like, I hated that. It's too much politics there. Any job you go to is a lot of politics, but I felt that in a nursing home setting, it is just, there's just so much like, oh, we can get cited for this, we can get sued for this, can you change your documentation? Money wise, urgent care will pay you more than a physician. I was working with a physician, and the pay that I was getting from the doctor that I was working with actually was good pay, was decent pay. The only thing was I did not get any benefits with this physician. But when you go to an urgent care setting, you are going to get benefits, plus some urgent care also give you incentives on top of that. If you see a lot of patients, they give you bonuses for that. Currently, I am making more money that I made in my previous job. I was making $150,000, not real numbers, I'm just saying. And what I did was I asked for $15,000 more from them. I ended up getting $10,000 more with full benefits. So, hey, you know, you kind of have to leverage your experience and different things like that. But I was told by someone else who was a brand new nurse practitioner, who compared how much she was offered in an urgent care versus how much she was offered from a physician, and it was significantly more. So I will say that, you know, the urgent care tends to pay a little bit more than these primary care offices, but if you have experience, you can even leverage that and get even more money. If you are a new nurse practitioner, honestly, baby, you are on your own. A lot of these urgent care spaces have one provider, and you have to be strong and kind of know your ish to be the only provider in there. And let's be honest, when you're a new nurse practitioner, you're getting your feet wet, you're trying to learn as you go. When I worked in a nursing home setting and the primary care office, I was in the office with my boss. So if I didn't know something, I can ask him. In the nursing home setting as well, I was on my own with the nursing home patients, but the difference was I can go back to the office, I can look things up, I don't look so lost. One thing about me, if I don't know, I'm not afraid to say I don't know. A patient asked me something the other day in the clinic, and I straight up said, I actually don't know, but I'm gonna look it up. And I did not feel bad, and I did not feel stupid. I didn't know, so I'm not gonna make something up. So yeah, that's what I am gathering so far. I will also say that the urgent care space, especially for my nurse practitioners who, not even just new nurse practitioners, you know, if you're decided that you want to go into the urgent care space, please practice your suturing. Practice your suturing, because I'm telling you, laceration comes into the urgent care. I think my second shift, there was a laceration in that urgent care. X-rays is one of the big things. There's so many patients that come to the urgent care because they want an x-ray because they fall. And I've seen urgent cares before that don't have radiologists to read these x-rays, and they kind of depend on you to read it. I am glad that the urgent care that I work at, I can send the imaging to the radiologist, but I still look at them, you know, and say, okay, this is what I think is going on, to test myself, because that's how you're going to get better. So that's, I will say, if you're going to look for a job in an urgent care setting, ask these questions. How many providers? Sometimes they'll lie to you, because trust me, they lie to me. I said it was 2 providers. Ain't no 2 provider. It's 1 provider. But every now and then, you know, I'll get like a provider for half the shift. You know, ask questions like the whole radiology thing and different things like that that you know you're not so comfortable with. So that's my thoughts on the hospital setting. I didn't even really talk about the hospital setting. Let me touch on this real quick and then I'm done. Because I was working with the internal medicine team, we just saw the patients that got admitted under those 4 physicians that kind of cover each other for each weekend. So in inpatient, I could not control how many patients would be on the list, because sometimes I showed up for the weekend round and it would be 18 patients. Next time it would be 40 patients, and you kind of just have to see the patients as you go. And of course, we know that in the hospital setting, there's more things at our disposal. I can order stuff. If, you know, consult. Oh, something is going on cardiac wise, boom, I'm consulting cardiology. I think something is going on psych wise, boom, I'm consulting psych. That's a beauty of the hospital setting. But what I was doing, I couldn't control the amount of patient that would be on my list. So I know a lot of nurse practitioners, their concern is, how many patients am I really truly going to see every day, and is it going to be worth it when you think about work-life balance and different things like that? I will say that my previous job, I'm not gonna lie, it had a better work-life balance. I could go and come as I please a little bit more. The urgent care, you know, I have to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning. They close at 8. I don't leave there sometimes. One day I didn't leave there until 9 p.m. You know, I have a young child. He don't want to go to bed until I show up in the house and things like that. So with my other job, I was able to drop my kid off at school, sometimes even pick him up, and before he goes to bed, he's seen me. So for that reason, I think it was a little bit better work-life balance. But the beauty of the urgent care is that at least I'm just there 3 days a week. Anyways, guys, that is it. I don't want to make this video any longer. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Bye, guys.